this enchanted lullaby.
There is no truth until you decide what truth is, and each person should find that truth out for his or herself.
This enchanted lullaby. This enchanted lullaby.
Know what? Global family, look in the mirror. I want you to take a good look. You are the champion, the hero of your story. No matter how much praise you may give some of us who may help you on this journey, it is you who has to walk it. We are only a catalyst to help you see.
Tony, again, I give you accolades for, I don't even know what to say, for all the efforts, man, that you have put in my behalf.
There is no truth until you decide what truth is.
It is you who has to walk it. We are only a catalyst to help you see.
Person should find that truth out for his or herself.
To help you see.
For his or herself.
All right, greetings, everyone. Greetings. Give me one moment here. The atmospheric balloon launch happened on Saturday. It was absolutely 100% success. And so this upcoming Saturday, we're going to show some footage of the upper atmosphere. So you'll see footage of it leaving the ground from 3 different angles, okay? One pointing at the ground, one pointing at the sky, and one pointing at the horizon, okay? So you'll see it launching from the ground at that angle, those different angles, and then you're gonna see it, of course, go up into the sky. Now, the whole trip was about, it took like an hour to get to the height that it did before it hit a certain ceiling, okay? So because of that, some of the footage is gonna be kind of cut a little bit, but nevertheless, for those who have donated to projectetheric.com, we are going to, for you all, those who actually have, sponsored the project and helping with the project, so on and so forth, you're gonna see the full video in full, okay? But then from that point, I'm also gonna show you what happened after the fact, right? So it landed 83 miles away, okay? Through the calculations, it was not supposed to land that far away. It was only supposed to land maybe around 15 miles at the most, but we had to add so much more helium to the balloon that it threw the calculations off, because we had to add like 6 to 8 times as much helium than previously thought, because the payload or the equipment, once actually all taped down and all the tape we had to use and everything else, that adds weight, and you have to calculate it to the exact gram to get to know exactly how much helium, and then to know approximately where it could land. Now, even if you had the exact weight down, even if you had the exact amount of helium in there, you knew all that exact, still above us are jet streams, okay? And so if it gets caught up in a jet stream, which it did, okay, no matter what your calculations are, it could take it any which direction, you just don't know. Okay, and so that's the whole thing about it. It's very, for a person who has anxiety at all, I don't, but if a person did have anxiety, this is not the type of projects you want to do at all, because once it goes up in the sky, you're literally at the behest of the creator. Let's just put it like that, okay? Because it can go anywhere. And so it ended up going 83 miles away. We are, of course, in Illinois, and we was kind of west suburbs of Illinois where we launched it at. It ended up in a middle of a cornfield in literally the middle of the state of Indiana. Okay, and so it's your equipment, right? So this equipment is at least a few $100s up to $1,000. So you don't want to lose your equipment. So no matter where it's really at, you have to go get it. And so I had to drive a few hours away to literally, y'all go see footage of this stuff. It's absolutely crazy, right? So I had to drive a few hours away to get the equipment in the middle of a cornfield, right? It was about a quarter of a mile, a little bit of a quarter of a mile inside of the cornfield. So you're gonna see footage. Now, it looks like even if the YouTube is up on Saturday, it just depends. YouTube, many more people go on YouTube than here. So it just depends on which platform I'm going to do it on. But regardless of which platform we're on, I could show it on Zoom as well. Okay. And so you're going to see me walking in the cornfield, and you're going to see the corn stalks. First, they were pretty, I'm about a little over 6 feet. So they were a little bit below me at first, and then you see them get about my height, and then you see them get like tower over me. Okay. At like, 8 feet, 9 feet tall, right? It was literally like walking through a jungle of corn. It was crazy. Okay, so you all will see footage of that on Saturday. Okay, so we'll start Saturday, maybe around 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Okay, so just be aware of that. So before we get into this Manifestation Wednesday, because it still goes on, let me tell y'all what happened. Okay, so some of you are in the know already, some of you are not. As people are continuing to join us here, I appreciate everyone tuning into this platform. So it's almost like a better, many of you have been listening for years. So it's like we used to do the phone call only blog talk, right? So it's kind of like that, but now a mixture of both. And, because I can't add video, and this is a bit more intimate. Okay, because video can be added. You all could just literally chime in almost at any moment, and I could even share my screen and stuff like that. So it is a bit more intimate, and it may be better in the long run. Who knows? This makes me have to create another platform. Many of you know I could create my own platforms and stuff. So this makes me want to potentially do that, but it just takes so much time to do those things. And time is only 1440. Okay, it's only 1,440 minutes in a day. Okay, this is something that I don't want to have to keep creating multiple platforms, right? When could use the platforms that are readily out there. So with that, what else here? So I talked about that. Okay, so let me tell you what happened with YouTube. Okay, so earlier today, many of you get the newsletter that we send out. Maybe once a week, twice a week, something like that, right? Greetings, everyone. Greetings. Okay, so more and more people are starting to come on in. And so greetings to all of you. So, okay, so many of you know, many of you get the newsletter that comes out, right? You also know we have been on YouTube for years. We have never had an issue at all. YouTube, no strikes, no takedowns, absolutely nothing. Okay, we had to take down other people's stuff from using our stuff, but never had anything at us. So everything's been perfect, literally perfect. And so you all know we're doing some powerful things here. We are showing us doing, atmospheric launches and all this other stuff. And of course, it's Manifestation Wednesdays, right? So sent out a notice earlier today, and even yesterday as well. Okay, so yesterday talked about the show today, and it talked about how on Saturday we were going to show footage of the upper atmosphere and so on and so forth. And then today at around 4:05 p.m. today, I'm actually going to share my screen so you can actually see it. One moment here. What is on the Meta Center website here. Since we can't do that with this is much easier to do it than doing it live, because there's so many moving parts when you go live on YouTube that I just like to stay focused. But on here it's a bit more relaxed, so I can do it so you all can see. Let's see here. All right, one moment here. So, all right, so you all should see the screen right there. Okay, so as you see here, this is the notice I put up at today at about an hour ago. Okay, so notice to the worldwide community, right? So you can read this yourself. It is on the Meta Center website. Just go to the top, click on news, and it'll be the first thing you see there. Okay, it's notice to the worldwide community. And so what you're going to see here is that at 4:05 p.m. today, a newsletter was sent out, okay, advertising the Manifestation Wednesdays podcast tonight. Okay, that was at 4:05 p.m. tonight. Earlier today, Central Standard Time. And then coincidentally at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, YouTube completely not only disabled our YouTube account, but suspended it and totally deleted it off the platform. Now, many of you know this is only positive stuff. Many of you have been supporting for years. Okay, we've been around for, we're about positivity and correct all forms. Okay, everybody who knows of us knows that. Okay, that's why some people don't really mention us, because they want to do the ratchetness, right? So with that, they completely removed it. I mean, the whole entire channel is down, period, right? And so, what a coincidence, right? What a coincidence. And that's just how powerful, of course, Manifestation Wednesdays is. You know what I'm saying? So it's either between this triggered it, or the showing the atmosphere, even though I'm not going to show like some of the most intense parts of the atmosphere. I'm not showing. That's for those who donate and stuff. Okay, I'm showing that in the private meeting for those who donate and so on and so forth. Buddy, one moment here. Okay, somebody I can hear the background here. Okay, so I have to mute you, Ganelle. I have to mute you because it's a little bit, your background TV is coming through. So I'm about to share my screen again here. Okay, so you see my screen again there. Okay, so this is just that powerful, right? That it's either between this triggered it, or as I would mention, the atmosphere, showing the stratosphere, the upper atmosphere on Saturday. So either one of those two things triggered this. Okay, both of those are very positive. So what's the problem, right? And so only thing this does is bring light, more light, shining into the darkness, because many of you know for a fact we're about positive stuff. Everybody who knows us, even those who don't like us because they don't like the fact that we talk about certain positive things like that, still, even they know what we're about. So this is just going to shed more light in the end. Okay, so with that, here's actually with the notice they sent. They said, in short, they said here that they put in there that we are either spam, we're either misleading, or misleading content, or we're deceptive. Okay, so come on now, right? So this actually made me laugh a bit. But but it seems almost in the territory of lies is that, and of course, this here is the video of a little teaser video of the Project Etheric launch.
There is no truth until you decide what truth is. Each person should find that truth out for his or herself.
I kind of really think they didn't like this at all. Okay, especially, many of you like our theme song, okay? That in connection with this, no. But of course, there's nothing to be afraid of. I mean, as far as in any form of fashion. Okay, it's super positive, right? It inspires even young people into STEM and stuff like that, right? That's science, technology, engineering, math, right? STEM, STEM. Okay, isn't that what we all want, right? So this is going to shed tons of light in the, as I mentioned here, right, I'm scrolling down here, and now you see firsthand how powerful of just the thought of a show called Manifestation Wednesdays is, that the draconian command even had to put a pause on that. They said, no, 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 no. But of course, they were better off just letting the show just go on and just kind of take its time and move, just go on slowly, however it does, because now they're going to put more focus on it. Okay, so that's what happens at times. So I'm saying it's called the let me put this up here so you guys, I think it's called the Streisand effect. So you all can see the Streisand. I'm spelling it totally wrong. Yeah, the Streisand effect. Okay, so it's the phenomenon. So you can see here, right? It's the phenomenon. It's a social phenomenon that occurs when an attempt to hide, remove, or censor information has the unintended consequence of further publicizing that information. Okay, so it's actually a scientific term for this, right? And so the Streisand effect, okay, again, a social phenomenon that occurs when an attempt to hide, remove, or censor information has the unintended consequence of further publicizing it, often via the internet. I do see you raising your hand, Wendy. Give it a moment here. Give it a moment. So you see, right? Now the rules, let me get into the rules first, right? It's only one concern per guest. So whatever your main concern is, that's what you say. Now, and after that, you could go to the website again and just type in your information and then resubmit. You can be back on the show again. Your concern could be about anything. It necessarily, and this is what I was going to mention tonight, it necessarily does not have to be exactly like I'm trying to manifest a bunch of money, right? It can be, for example, it's a lot going on around us right now. I live in the city. This is my situation. What can I do? Right? Because I mean, we can't ignore what's happening all around us, right? It could be my family. I have a parent who's elderly. This is going on around us. What can I do? Right? Or it can deal with anything. Okay, because of course, many of you know I do know a lot about many different subjects. So it can be about anything, but whatever that main concern is of you. Okay. What else here? So that's it. So I'm getting to the prelude, right? How I like to say it. So this deals with. So let us begin. Okay. This deals with Genesis. Now, also, when I mentioned this, also this one I'm about to read right now. See, it's so many positive things that could really trigger the type of nonsense. We all see the nonsense they're pushing all over. We see the Olympics. We all see this nonsense they're pushing all over the place. We see this, right? And even just mentioning a man should be with a woman, right? Or a woman should be with a man, that could get you canceled, literally, right? So it tells you the draconian, the demonic forces are trying to do certain things. But again, nothing can hold the truth. The truth is the truth. I mean, come on now, right? No matter what, even if an adult, even if you have an alternative lifestyle, still, if you're in your right mind, you still know, even though you choose that lifestyle, you know what the truth is. Okay, so this also, what I'm about to read here is a positive thing as well, but this could also trigger it, right? Because they don't like anything mentioning biblical scripture at all for whatever reason, okay? Especially in a certain way where I cut out the BS and keep it in a certain light, right? So this deals with Genesis, right? In the beginning, in this space, there was an entity. For simplicity, let's call this entity God. This God created the heaven and the earth. And through this process, this God stated a few things. One of them was, let there be light. In the outcome of which there was light. The word. Spoken words are a melody of vibration. A clashing of frequencies when spoke bring about certain changes. These changes can be these changes can be as major as creating a world, right? Or as minor as ordering your meal in the drive-thru at a restaurant. Words are made up of letters. These letters have a meaning and a sound. When you combine together these letters that each individually have a meaning and a sound, you create a word. When you string together words, you have a sentence. When multiple sentences are flowing between two or more people, this is called a conversation. As we begin our conversation tonight, as it springs together because of a word. The first soul we have on tonight is Andrew. Okay, Andrew, can you unmute your phone, Andrew? And just so y'all know, this is going to be put up on the website later. Don't worry about if your face and stuff like that shows. Don't worry about it. I'm going to edit that out. So don't worry about that. Okay. So Andrew, if you're here, Andrew. Andrew, unmute your phone.
Yeah, hello, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Okay, cool. All right, give me one moment here because someone actually messaged, and then we're gonna get straight into what your concern is. All right, so one moment here. All right, one moment, y'all. Okay, so Andrew, what state are you from?
From New York.
Okay, so he's from New York, everyone. Okay, so what brings you on tonight? What is your concern?
So being well, with everything going on, I think it would be useful for having the community, having people in the community look up to someone like a community leader in a way,
Okay.
or becoming a good role model.
Well, okay, Andrew, just so you know, I'm not sure if you got music going on in the background or something, but it's kind of distorting.
Hold on,
what you're
listen
saying.
more.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is, okay, so Andrew, we're gonna move on to the next person. We'll come back to you. All right, so make sure your background is quiet. Okay, you gotta have a quiet background. Okay, so we're going to the next caller here. The next caller is Schuyler. Okay, Schuyler. Unmute your phone.
Yep.
Okay, there you are, Schuyler. Okay. So, what state are you from?
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. And what brings you on tonight? What is your concern?
My question for you is, what are the deep metaphysical reasons why we shouldn't consume anything with added sugar?
Well, some things are not deeply metaphysical at all. They just are the respecting the body and what effects happen to the body when you consume certain types of food. Okay, so for example, alcohol, right? We all know what alcohol does to the body, right? If you don't, then I could mention it, but we all pretty much know with the alcohol, it doesn't do good things for the body at all. Okay, and so that's just in general respecting the body. Processed sugar, especially, it excites the brain. Okay, it excites the body. It could cause, because we know it could cause certain make a person lethargic. Sugar is more addictive than cocaine. It was an experiment that we talked about in the herbology class that the scientists actually did an official experiment where when it came to, they gave mice different drugs, and between specifically cocaine and sugar was found to be ever more or much more by multiples more addictive than cocaine. Okay, so now you're talking about the addictive aspect of it. Now you're talking about how it can cause you to hold on to excess weight or anything like that. But what it creates in your brain is excessive brain firing. Okay. Also, it messes with your, let's say, your your levels of excitement. So we'll start there first, levels of excitement. So for example, let's say that if a person didn't have any sugar at all, especially nothing processed. We know it's sugar in fruit and stuff like that, but their whole life, that's the only thing they consume is fruit and vegetables, and they got the natural sugar from that, okay? When that person is stimulated, okay, whether even, let's say the person's a male looking at a woman, or a person's a woman looking at a male, right? And they get stimulated, certain bodily processes happen. Okay, we all, most everyone here, I'm sure is over 18, you know these things, right? So when these bodily processes happen, it doesn't take a lot to initiate. So for men, it wouldn't take a lot. We're talking about a man in his natural state. He only ate natural food, okay? So let's say his natural state is 0. That's his resting state. Literally, when he sees something like that arouses in the mind, right? It's in the mind here. It's a mental, it's a brain function that happens here. He's at 1, he's excited. He's ready to, he's standing up, okay? Whereas because of obsessive brain firing from being aroused by the addictive nature of like things like sugar, okay? So instead of you naturally being aroused at like 1, now it takes you to be aroused at 9 or 8, right? So at that point, naturally, if you were in your natural state, you would be entering almost a transcendental state at that point, right? Because you're so aroused, you're so much in the moment that you're about to literally pierce through time and space at that point, okay? But because you are so used to obsessions in excessive things, like one being sugar, okay? It takes much more to get your brain firing at the level to create that type of internal energy flow to give you that excitement, okay? So instead of at level 8, you're like about to pierce through time and space if you were natural. Now at level 8, you can lift up your leg a little bit. You could kind of wiggle off the couch, okay? So, and not even talking about of course, the addictive nature of it dealing with food. Of course, that's the cravings that we have for sugar, for cookies, for cakes, for things like sugary drinks, like Pepsi and Sprite and so on and so forth. So the thing about it is that at times, some things are just much more directly in front of us than we don't have to go way out into the spiritual plane to just see what the obvious is happening. Kind of interesting question. Out of all questions that could be asked, that was interesting. I wasn't expecting a question like that, Skylar.
Oh yeah, I had on the fasting program that you put out, you had said towards the end that on a future podcast you were going to talk about actually it was like a quote that I had mentioned, that you mentioned. It was like the deep metaphysical reasons why we shouldn't be consuming sugar. That was something that you had said on.
Okay, well now you got it right.
Yeah.
There you go. So there it is. Well, if you I'm about to go to the next person here, right? That was an interesting one that you put there. I wasn't expecting that, okay? But I'm going to go to the next person here and put in go to the web page, put your info in again, and you'll be on a future show. But other than that, thank you very much for chiming in, Skylar.
No problem.
All right. So as you see there, Skylar was talking about the fasting program that was on YouTube. I'm gonna have to put all these things now on the website, but again, was on YouTube. Many of you know of it by now because many of you get it in your orders as well. And so, yeah, sugar itself, ideally, you want to wean yourself off of sugar. Now, to just throw something else out there, if you see many people, right, who smoke marijuana. Marijuana tends to be, for majority of people, a dream inhibitor, okay? A dream inhibitor. it slows down and or stops your dreaming state. Okay, it interrupts your REM sleep. So people notice that when they stop smoking marijuana, that their dreams come back really strong and extra vivid. The same thing happens with when you stop consuming sugar. Okay, you'll notice that your dreams become more vivid. Hey, Skylar, I'm going to put you, come back on real quick.
Yep.
Okay, have you been doing the fasting program?
I tried it a couple of times now.
Oh, you tried it a few times. Go. Okay, since this is still dealing with the same subject, we could get a little bit into this. Okay.
All right.
So, I have your. But for the audience sake, how old are you, Skylar?
21.
Okay, 21. And what is your height and weight?
5'7". I would say I'm about 140 pounds right now.
Okay, so you're about average height and weight for your height. Okay. So what trouble did you have with it, or are you having the trouble you are having with it?
Well, it's kind of like the example you put out. I mean, once you get off of it, the dreams are definitely much more vivid. And then, but that craving, like I think a couple of days ago, I had some baked beans and I think it has like 14 grams of sugar. And that, you know what I mean? That high came back. So, you know what I mean? Especially if you go like 3 weeks or more off of like anything with added sugar. And then once you go back to it, like that's when you realize, you know, that high is just so, you know, just like you said, how it's stronger than cocaine with the rats and stuff like that. But as far as like just the clarity and the anxiety goes away, all that type of stuff is definitely, you know, that program, it brings that calmness out in you.
Excellent. So you're going to keep pushing forward with it, right?
Of course.
Excellent. I'm going to show you all an image here. This was part for those who are who join in on the herbology program. You will be familiar with what I'm about to show you. Okay, for those who have not joined in on any of the herbology classes that we offer, you know, you can still join in on them, but you know, this is some of the things that were shared. So give me a moment here, everyone. I'm about to share a slide. It's from one of the supplemental classes called Water, Sugar, and Chemicals in the herbology course. And so I want to show you specifically it was a rudimentary experiment that I did. Okay, and it was showing how much sugar is in some of the foods and drink and things that we consume. So I'm about to share my screen here. All right, so I'm sharing my screen. Okay, so because this is much more intimate, I'm going to leave it up to you all at the end, not now, but at the end, or you can say in the chat room, to let me know if you like this more intimate kind of conversation versus even how it was on YouTube. Okay, and if so, once the YouTube is back on, I'm going to do a mix and match of both. Okay. So for example, this is a rudimentary experiment that I did here, right? So I took different items and I literally showed you how much. So if it says, for example, 20 grams, I actually poured out 20 grams of sugar. So you can physically see how much it actually is, okay? So this is a Kit Kat, okay? And this Kit Kat has, let's see here, 22 grams, okay? 22 grams. So that is 22 grams of sugar right there. So, and of course too, you know, it's not like it's not the organic sugar. It's not non-processed and non-bleached sugar. It's the crack of sugar. You know what I'm saying? It's the most intense sugar you can get. Okay. This stuff also, just to throw it out there, in a grid down scenario. Oh, for those out there, just in case I get off topic, well, I'm going to mention this on Saturday. I'm not going to mention it now. I'm going to mention it on Saturday. But nevertheless, you want to for sure tune in to Saturday's broadcast. But nevertheless, here, 22 grams of sugar there. Okay, here's another one. This was a Snickers. Okay, Snickers had, where is it at? 28 grams. So 1 ounce of sugar. Okay, let me mention this to you that in a grid down scenario, when the world is, let's say if that were to happen, okay, grid down, the world's into chaos and everything else, sugar will be worth more than gold. I'm telling you this. Many of you know how I see, so I'm telling you. So if you had a little area where you just got used about literally pounds and pounds of sugar and kept this, you remember other insects and things and rodents like sugar too. Okay, so if you kept it secure so it stays good, oh yeah, that's perfect. Will let it be a grid down scenario, especially for over a year, 2 years, and you got a supply of sugar? Man. So anyhow, the next one here is a Reese's cup. A Reese's cup has 22 grams of sugar. So again, under 22 grams of sugar. This here was a Gatorade. A Gatorade has, let's see here, total 48 grams of sugar. So literally, if you took this amount of sugar and poured it in an empty Gatorade container and just poured it in there, you're talking about a quarter of the container is just literally sugar. Not even including the syrup and all the other nonsense, just the sugar by itself. Okay. Here's Pepsi. Pepsi has 69 grams of sugar. Look how much sugar that is. See, this is why they had to ban this type of stuff on YouTube, because they rather have, of course, the ratchets doing what they're doing and everything else. Can't have this pointed out like this. Okay. Sprite has 63 grams of sugar. Okay, 63 grams of sugar in Sprite. Okay, so the need to get you addicted is serious business. It's extremely serious. Okay, that also, let me also go into other health things. It also messes with your heart. Okay, in my research, from what I can tell from the different types of research I've been doing in different areas of health and wellness, it seems like it makes the heart bigger. Okay, like it enlarges the heart over time. Okay, so nevertheless, it pretty much it causes problems in every aspect of your health, even in the way you can concentrate. Okay, especially for example, go on a sugar fast until absolutely no sugar. Fruits and vegetables are fine. Smoothies are fine. No added sugar in the smoothie though. Okay. And don't eat any dense sugary product like a Pepsi or like a slice of caramel cake from your local bakery or something, right? And then after 6 months, eat that. You're gonna have a massive headache. Okay, your concentration is gonna be like all over the place. Okay, like literally your mind's gonna go sporadic. And then you will see firsthand what sugar does to the brain, to the mind, and to the body. Okay, hopefully you don't have to go through that, but but that's an example of it. So do you have any other concerns or questions, Schuyler, concerning specifically the one concern that you asked?
Oh, that was the concern right there. I'm all good.
Okay, cool. Thank you much.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that was Schuyler there. Schuyler, this is another tip for you. Okay, you didn't get into it all because you didn't ask anything dealing with it. But what I would like you to do, okay, I'm not going to tell you what it's going to do. It's going to be all positive. But I want you to just do this and then see over time what you may notice. Okay. I would like you to wear the colors, okay, the colors, actual colors, okay, clothing, okay, where every day wear some type of item that is either pale green, okay, pale green or turquoise. Okay, pale green. So whether it's a hat, whether it's a watch band, whether it's a shirt, whether it's a pants, whether it's a jacket, whether it's a whole outfit from top to bottom, have some element on you that is either pale green and or turquoise every single day. Do it for 3 months. And you know how your life has been up to this point, okay, as we're speaking here. Now, for the next 3 months, if you're able to, again, wear at least one item of clothing or accessory every single day that's either pale green or turquoise. 3 months from now, this is my personal challenge to you. 3 months from now, I want you to get in touch and just let me know, have you noticed anything at all? Okay.
All right.
Cool. There it is. Thank you much. Okay. So the next caller for tonight, the next soul that has a concern is Barbara. Barbara, can you unmute your phone, Barbara?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. All right, Barbara. So, okay, just for so everyone knows, what state are you from?
I'm in Massachusetts.
Excellent. Now, this is the same Barbara from that we talked already, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good, cool. You just sound a little bit different. Okay, cool. All right.
Well,
So, hope you're doing well today. Your day going okay?
my day's going okay. I'm a little hoarse, or I don't know if it's hoarse or it's just my allergic reaction to being outside.
Okay.
There's a story behind that.
So, what is your concern today, Barbara?
Okay, so I seem to be having a hard time, or very challenged anyway, keeping or sort of exiting or letting go of my left brain and kind of going more towards the creative state of being. Now, I can get out of the left brain to do creative things, but as a permanent state, no. So you guys were talking earlier about STEM. My whole life, I've been sort of that STEM person, but I grew up in a household where, you know, the saying idle hands are the devil's work tools or something like that. And so, you know, we had hobbies, we learned to do different things. So I have hobbies and I have things that I do when my left brain is not being used, or at least I'm not using my left brain to exist, like for my job or for any kind of position that I might hold, like in the community or as a volunteer or anything like that. So like when I'm home and I'm sitting, I won't say I never have anything to do, but I'm usually like doing something that engages my mind, but also my hands. So I try to work with my hands from a creative component. But now I'm trying to go more into the creative side of my brain, and I'm seeming to be having some challenges with that. And you know, it's like everything just seems to be linear. And even when I'm being creative, it seems like I'm picking things that are sort of in that linear space. And it's not like I'm trying to avoid the linear. It's just that you know, I spent 35 years, you know, working at a job where it was just, you know, linear all day long, STEM. And I teach STEM as well. And so now I'm getting into some other areas of my life where I need to be more on the creative side and kind of leave things to just happen. For example, in the spiritual component. And you know, my left brain keeps saying it needs to happen in an explosive way. And it's usually very subtle. And so I'm challenged with that.
There is no spoon.
There is no spoon, you're correct.
All right.
Unlearn what you have learned. You must unlearn what you have learned.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so okay. So this is the thing. Of course, I know your age, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so would you say that you have been, again, more left brain focused the majority of your life?
Absolutely.
Okay. So just think about it like this, right? It's almost like, okay, so pretty much almost, let's just say over half a person's life, okay? So let's say if we live to 80 or 90, so literally practically half of that time you've been left-brained, okay? Or left brain focused, right?
Predominantly, yes.
Predominantly, yes. And also this is a more, of course, predominantly left-brained society.
It is.
Right? Okay. So it's going to be difficult. You understand what I'm saying? So it's most definitely be difficult to try to change up now. Pretty much what you're trying to do is trying to change up at the 9th inning. Okay. So
and why is not that possible? Why? Who says it can't happen?
Oh, it can happen, most certainly. Oh, most certainly. I'm going to give you a potential thing you could work at, but it's the difficulty that you're seeing there. Yes, for majority of people, it's like a person even on the opposite side who's been literally for more than half their life have been totally the creative, and then someone's trying to force them into having this very stringent routine. Can some do it? Yeah, but for most, it's going to cause them some type of stress. Okay, so it goes both ways there. If you're extreme on one or the other, it's going to be a bit more difficult going to the other extreme. Okay, so with that, what I would suggest with you, especially with your mindset and always thinking, looking at that you're a Gemini, so your air sign, you're always in your head and you're always thinking. Okay, not at times just allowing, like you said, the spirit, just allowing the process to take place because you're thinking what the process may be, how it will take place, which way is going to go, this way, that way, up, down, everything else. So I get it. Okay, so meditation. Okay, meditation. All right, and meditation forces you to literally just sit there. And the ideal thing with meditation, of course, is you're clearing your mind. Okay, and that's it. Nothing more. Now people will get into all type of things like holotropic breathing. I mean, saying all types of mantras, all that stuff, and some of them may be okay, some of them may not be at all okay. But the go-to meditation that when someone asks me about meditating, I just say sit in a quiet place. Okay. At first, especially if you do you meditate at all?
I do. And I was chuckling when you were talking about that because sometimes my meditation is a door into another world. Nothing wrong with that, but it's just more things to add to the left brain side of things. Because I come up with all, in the initial part, I come up with all these questions that I want answers to, and then sometimes I fall asleep.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with falling asleep, and there's nothing wrong with having questions. There's nothing wrong with it at all. Okay,
No.
So some people, yes, when they see things and they experience certain things, they want to know why. Okay, and so, but the thing about it, there's answers to everything. The question is, are you willing to go and do what it takes to get those answers? If you're truthful with yourself and say, nah, I want to do some things, but not, I'm only willing to go so far. Well, then at that point, then there's no point of even causing stress on your brain past a certain point, because you even know honestly to yourself that I could just let that be because I know I'm not going to go see what's there or this and that. I would just fantasize about it and just think about the what ifs, right? So meditation, again, you could use music. Ideally, I tell people to meditate without music at all because you don't want to be stuck on using some type of music or external instrument or something like that to get you in a meditative state, unless you are, like, for example, you're you're a musician or something like that. That's a little bit different for those people. Okay, but
I use the breath. I do breathe at the breathing a lot. That's kind of focus on my breath.
Okay, focus on your breath is fine too. Okay. Yeah. So at least 5 minutes a day, at least that. Okay. and allow yourself to, a lot of times with creatives, and you're talking to someone who is a creative as well, but also in STEM and all that stuff as well, okay, is that it's a spontaneity about it. It's a spontaneous action about being a creative, right? So let's say, for example, for a person who's like you, right? Let's say like you walk to the middle of your, let's say, town square or something, right? And you just turn some music on that you like really loud and just start just dancing, right? But majority of people, right? Now, that would be for like for me, that would make me very uncomfortable because I'm not the type of person to do that, even though I'm a creative, right?
Neither am I.
Okay, I get that. But see, the problem is that, that's going to force you to get you out of your element, especially when one has the concern that you have. See, I don't have that.
I think that's probably more to the heart of the matter. I remember yesterday when we spoke briefly and I said something about the courage, right? Because when I signed up, I thought I was just signing up for the, Manifesting Wednesday was just going to be a show. And you were just trying to see how many people would be interested in doing the show. I didn't realize it was actually come on. But then once I realized that last week, I'm like, oh, well, this is something that, not that I would never do it, but, I'm already there. So why not just take a shot, right? And, I've had a lot of those types of experiences where I just kind of fall into things. And I think this kind of trying to balance this creative versus this left brain, part of me says it shouldn't have to be either or, it should be both. And I remember at a younger age where it was just seemed to be just one smooth thing. I mean, I could go from being creative, and I think that's what made me successful at what I did with my left brain, was because I had that creative element that flowed with my left brain. But for some reason, I don't know if there's a block or something going on where it just seems like it's kind of in the way now of even manifesting. And it's an interesting process, to say the least. And you're right. It's like, I think I'm thinking about it too much, or I want to know what's next because I'm so used to determining what's next.
And it's going to take you time. As I said in the beginning, it's going to take you time, but you want to create some, see, pretty much it's almost like let's say your left brain has like a fortress around it. Okay. You built over this years of work, over this years of being that type of person, you create this fortified area around, let's say, the left brain, right? So, and you're saying, well, at this time of my life, I just want to go in a different direction, which is fine, right? Well, then, but the fortress around yourself, though. Okay, so now you have to, at times, do things to break that down. Okay, yes, whether it be something like painting, for example, right? But not painting, not watching some Bob Ross on TV and specifically painting what he's painting. Okay, again, that's more left-brained kind of.
Exactly.
It's a mixture. It's a little bit of a mixture because you are doing kind of artsy things, but still, it's left-brained. It's very like homeworky type of thing. It's like energy. Okay, but instead, you have buy a big old paintboard, and instead, let's say random, especially since you're a woman, right? And women, you all are naturally have a bit more connections or in tune with the ability of the heart, right? Or heart aspects of the heart, right? So let's say, for example, you say, you know what does love feel like? Right? And you just allowed your hand just to paint what love feels like for you. It may be a painting that no one knows what the heck it is. It doesn't matter because it's what it is for you, right? Those types of just open kind of activities like that will help just push it along a bit faster. You get what I'm saying? That will allow you to be able to tap into that expression more so when you want to versus having it for it to be a chore to even activate.
Right, I did that once. We just played some music and just painted based on what came up. It probably looked like a bloody mess to a lot of people, but I actually liked it. And I didn't care who liked it or not. But again, going back to that whole feeling like a chore thing, it's like, what would I rather do? than that.
The reason why that feels that way. So first off, good thing for doing it. And if you keep at it, it will help with the creative, right? That's the suggestions I'm giving you. That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
Right? But the reason why it feels like a chore because maybe you it's like, for example, right? A person is really good at one thing, right? And they see somebody, they say they're an expert at football, right? But they see, let's say they are like literally professional level at football, and then they see a professional level musician who's playing a violin, right? And they look at that person, instead of admiring it and being there and just listening to what's being played and allow the music to take them, they say to themselves, I want to be that musician. But then when they start learning it and trying to play the violin and everything else, not that they can't do it, but
it becomes very rudimentary.
Right, but not only that, but as they're doing it, they're like, I'd rather be doing something else. Yes, because you're trying to force yourself to do something that really maybe internally, because of training, maybe because of what your life was or whatever, you have forced yourself into such a way, whether it be for positive or negative, okay, better or worse, that you now, when you watch it and you look at it from a distance, you want to be that, you want to do that. But when you do it, you say, I'd rather be doing something else. A lot of times, when I hear people say that type of things, right? I say, just enjoy admiring things at times. Admiring the fact, as like an example of the basketball player, I mean, the football player, right? The professional. Admire the fact, because when you went and you tried to play it, you didn't like it. Because because really, it's not that you can't learn, it's that it's just not really your thing. And it's okay to admire people who have excelled in their thing and just sit there amongst it. And at that moment, you are that at that moment. And then when it's done, you go back to, creating flying helicopters, whatever else that you do. Okay. Until the next time that you want to go back into that moment again. You understand what I'm saying?
I get you.
Yeah. So that's what would be my overall suggestion. Either one thing to you, you continue to like do the spontaneous painting. You either go push the limit. Well, for example, just doing something crazy spontaneous, like going into the middle of downtown or something, turn on your favorite music and just jamming.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna happen.
Right. See,
that's not gonna happen.
Right. So you even know at that, you say, nah, I'm not doing that one. I know for a fact I'm not gonna do that. See, there's limits to it. There's limits to it, and you know what you would do and not do. Okay,
right.
But that's a pure, let's get into the purity of the right brain. Okay, being very childlike. Okay, because that's the most purest aspect of the creative is a childlike. Because think about it, a child will go out there and just do that. And then all of a sudden other children will come along and they just all just start dancing, just moving kind of weird and everything else. And everybody's like, hey, and we all accept that because we understand that their mind is open to the creative, to the creative, and all the whole 9 yards.
Right.
So with that, we limit ourselves for better or worse. And there's nothing wrong saying that I'm really good at this angle over here. And what I would say is that from the admiration point, but also there's nothing wrong with, when you feel like it, right? You go, you may paint, or let's say one weekend you may paint. The next weekend you may take a lesson on playing the piano. This next weekend you may do something else, right? All just doing different aspects of the creative. But who knows? It may be one of those things that actually it may be something totally just obscure that actually may you may do it and you say, this is it. And you may just always do it. It could be even like knitting, for example. That's great. Knitting.
Well, I do knit. I knit, I crochet, I cook. I'm actually a master chef. I've skydived. I've done all those things.
So what are you talking about, Barbara? What's going on here?
That's my dilemma. It's like, okay, so what else is there?
So now
I do floral arrangements. I've done wedding outfits, sewing. I've done the cakes on the other side. I cater. It's like I don't do all of those at one time, but I've done all of those things. And so it's like, it's not that I don't know how to be creative. It's just, I think from a brain mechanism, because in each of those activities, I kind of separated myself. I guess I saw them as separate entities, right? And not one. And I think there was a time in my life when it just seemed to be all one. There was no separation. And I think I'm trying to get back to that. And I'm not sure that's something that I can do in this environment.
All the stuff that you just named, you're already doing.
Yeah.
You are overthinking something that you are literally already doing. Literally, it's part of your life already.
Mm-hmm.
So now at this point, see, I know you're not, but at this point, I'll say things like, "Are you trolling? Is this a troll? You know what I'm saying?
No.
Are you just trolling us?" Because
No.
literally, what you're literally saying that what your concern is, you literally actually already do.
Mm.
It's literally, it's nothing wrong with looking at a creative thing with an analytical mind.
Well, I don't think it's wrong. It's just, I think it feels like I'm missing something. I guess that's really what I'm driving at. And I think when I think about the times when I was in flow, if you flow really, like you get that thing going, you just go and go and go. Not sort of like an autopilot type of thing or an obsessive work type of thing, but just, things fall into place as you go. You do different things. And so at the times when I felt like I was in flow, I could move through these things and feel like I'm doing something, I'm accomplishing something. Now I think, for whatever reason, I'm not sure what happened, but somewhere along the line, I drew like a line or something happened where all of a sudden I'm seeing these things as separate entities and I have to give up one to benefit from the other. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to find is, to get back to that space where there's no delineation, there is no separation, or at least not a hard one like I feel right now.
So you just said something very specific. You said that there were at times, even though you've done pretty much as it seems, most of your life you have done creative things. Okay, so it's not that you can't tap into the creative because you actually can. Okay, but you just named something. You said something very specific. You said that at times, let's say in your life, right, you had to pretty much choose one or another over another. Okay, and of course, obviously, there had to be a reason for that, right? Whether it be paying bills or whatever it may be, right? So that's your reason then. Okay, I mean, it's not like it wasn't like you were sitting back, right, and you're painting the painting, you're in the flow, you get into it, then all of a sudden you just got stuck and said, "No, what? Oh man," and went some other total direction, just randomly out the blue, and you just don't. No, you know exactly why you had to do that. Okay, because sometimes, yes, the creative does not necessarily. You may love it and you wish it can, let's say, sustain you at times, right? But at times for many people it does not. So they have to do more of that other thing. Okay. And so and you literally just say, what I would say to you, Barb, is that you are overthinking this majorly. You are already creative. You are a person who's also analytical. And so let's say the pure creative, you're more of in the middle, the analytical creative. Okay, and there's absolute. You've done tons of things. You said you are a master chef. You skydive. You do this. You do that. You out there enjoying yourself. You paint. You crochet. You knit. I mean, come on now. So you doing pretty much the whole spectrum of things. Okay, and so, but when it comes to so I was to say, keep meditating. Okay. Meditate and don't think that you're not doing it because you remember, I'm outside, I don't know you. Okay. And hearing what you're saying and hearing what your concern is, you are literally already in it. You're already doing it. Okay. So there's a bit of just pinpointed thought going in there that's a little bit too focused.
Okay.
And you have to ask yourself, why is it that focus when you literally are already doing it? And when you say, I don't know why my life just changed from the creator, this, that, when you even just named it, you just actually said why your life changed, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the answer literally is all in front of you. It's just right there. Don't overthink it. Okay. Just do what you do when you feel like doing it, because you're already a creator.
Mm.
Okay, so if at times, I just don't feel like doing this, well then don't do it then. You think creatives don't do that? I mean, even pure creatives, you think they just sit there all day just doing a creative thing? Heck no. You know, so there's times where they sit back and say, you know what? They look at the same painting for months and just look at it and say, no, I really need to finish that, but I'm just not in the mood or in the flow right now.
Yeah.
And so they don't touch it. And then one day something really good happened, or one day, let's say they walked outside, let's say especially as a woman, something like that, and somebody said, oh wow, you're looking fantastic today. And it made them feel so happy and special for whatever reason, right? That when they get back in the house, they say, look at the painting, and they say, you know what? I'm painting right now. And they end up finishing it. But
I think,
you know, go ahead.
Yeah. No, when you said you know, sometimes creatives just look at something for months at a time, can. And I think that's the space that scares me. Because it's like I just walk away from something and it's like, you know, and I put things in my face so that, you know, but it just feels like I'm being lazy. So I guess I need to give myself permission.
Say that it's okay. I mean, literally look at yourself in the mirror and say, Barbara, it's okay if I decide to do something now, or I decide to do it later. I give myself permission to be able to relax, to be able to change my mind, to be able to do things in one moment and then maybe do something in the next moment.
Yes.
There's no right or wrong to any of that. Literally, I mean, literally give yourself permission to do that. Look yourself in the mirror as an affirmation. Give yourself permission to literally do that. Because literally, there's nothing wrong with anything you said at all. Only thing that's wrong with what you're saying is you standing in your own way.
Overthinking. Yep.
And there's no reason for it at all, because you're already doing the things that you are saying that you want to do and achieve. You're already doing it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So literally, it's like, okay, so what's the problem? The problem is you standing in your own way.
Thank you.
Thank you. So even one person said in the chat, just so you know, Barbara, one person in the chat, he said, ma'am, you sound like you have had an awesome life.
I have to now, thank goodness.
Oh,
and I'm still enjoying it. Somebody said something about pottery. Yes, I'm looking into that. Yes, I have. I'm blessed that way because of, you know, kind of happy the way I was raised was I was never told a girl couldn't do something, right? So I did whatever I wanted to, as long as it wasn't causing harm to myself or to anybody else. And, you know, I've been able to explore, you know, for example, my dad was alive and I lived in the same town, but I didn't live at home. And I would call him whenever I was going out of town and I'd say, I'm leaving town. I'll be gone for, you know, X number of days or a week or two. And he'd say, where are you going? And I'd say, oh, I'm going north. He goes, in a particular place? And I'd say no, because I really was just going to drive up the coast or, you know, drive to the south or, you know, wherever. And he'd just say, okay, be careful. And that was that.
See, Barb, I tell you, see, you have the privilege of having a life and have lived a life that pretty much allows you to now experience a bit of, I don't want to call it boredom because it's not boredom, but it's like boredom, okay? I can't really think of a word that's close to that that's really describing what I'm trying to relate to you, okay?
I get it.
But it's like that, okay? Where people here, I guarantee, would love to switch roles with you and say, hey, I would love to decide if I'm going to do pottery today or do some artwork later or anything else and decide, I want to do something else.
I'm by no means am I a dilettante. It's just been sort of, again, the work that I did was very intense. So I found different ways to relieve that pressure cooker whenever I could. Traveling was one of the ways I did that. And, like I said, we didn't have a lot of money, but my family was big on experience. And so I've had family that's lived all over the globe, been all over the globe. And I've either lived vicariously through them or I've done it myself. And just some things I do are natural because they were gifts that I came to this space with. And then other things, I see somebody and say, hey, that looks interesting. I want to try that. And I did.
There it is. Well, keep trying. Figure out some other things to try. Okay, because and give yourself permission that you can try. And see, it's good too that the spirit must have. Of course, this is going to be put up. I'm going to edit because some people's faces were showing and stuff like that, so I need to edit the video before I put it up on the website later. But go back and listen to this because you need to hear yourself. Okay, there are just okay. So I'm glad that the Creator, as you even said in the beginning of this conversation, that you have put the notice in, right, to be on the show, but you thought that it was just to pretty much give notice, like, hey, I have interest in the show. Because if you actually knew that you would end up being on the show directly, you might not have actually done it.
Correct.
Okay. So it was meant for you to be on. And it was meant for us to have our conversation. So get out your own way, Barb, and enjoy life.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
And thank you to everyone who put something in the chat as encouragement. I appreciate it.
And just so you know, because you are Gemini, just so you know, this pretty much this over analyzing that you're doing is a common theme with Geminis. Okay, you are air sign, so you're always in your head. The mind goes with Geminis. They also are pretty much like the two-faced God, right? Or it's also shown as the twins, okay?
Right.
Meaning duality of personality, meaning you keep going back and forth between the personalities. Now, you, out of all the Geminis I pretty much spoke to, you are much, much more focused in your life than they have been. Okay, they weren't able to, or somehow be able to capture the level of focus that you have. Okay. We all have our different makeups in the in the house of astrology, which could also be looked at as like the as one of the rooms in the mansion of the Lord. Okay, we all have our different makeups as we all in these different rooms or houses. Okay, and your makeup is one that loves to analyze. Okay, loves to specifically think. Okay, so yes, your thinking is actually part of your house's ability and stuff like that. Your house is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is the planet that's considered pretty much the planet of communication. Okay, so maybe look for some type of art form that will allow you to communicate. And yes, art itself allows you to communicate, whether it's painting or whatever it may be. But look for something that allows you to really communicate your internal expressions. I'm not sure what that would be, but you think on that, and you'll probably get more fulfillment in that than other types of art forms.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Well, thank you for the call, Barb. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks.
Okay. So the next caller we have on tonight, the next soul who is coming forth from the night into the day. Andrew.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, there you are. So again, Andrew, for the audience, where are you from, Andrew? What state?
New York.
New York. Okay. So what is your concern?
Well, no, I remember from one of the classes that we had, he was talking about how certain things shouldn't pierce the skin or penetrate the skin because it's like the barrier or whatever. And it's like our barrier, like our first, like, our largest organ. So I just had a question on like piercing and tattoos. Were those like really sacred, or was it just like a form of art? I don't know if you would be able to answer that question.
Okay, so I'm trying to hear you. You sound it's like a little muffled. It's like a reverb in the phone or something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that is, but you said that it's tattooing just an art form, or what did you say before that?
Like a sacramental practice.
Okay, what kind of practice? Say that one more time.
Like a sacramental.
Psychomental?
Yeah, that word. Or like a ritual practice, let me see.
Okay. I kind of get what you're trying to say. Okay, I get at least what I'm hearing on my end anyway. Okay, so when it comes to tattooing, if you had to ask me, okay, if someone said, should I get tattoos? Okay, so now if you are of a certain age and it's a very specific reason why you're doing certain things, I don't really have an opinion of that either one way or another. Okay, but this is purity of thought, right? Should you get a tattoo or not? No. Okay, what tattooing does, it taints the blood. Okay, or at the very least, it's tainting that area of the body. Okay, you're putting this ink beneath your skin and it taints it. Okay, so ideally, now people do of course, there's people would cut in, right, when people say that. Remember, these are all, in short, many of the things we see around us are all, let's say, tactics of the adversary of humanity. Okay, the adversary of humans, of mankind, or let's say God's children, or whatever you want to say. Okay, however you want to put it, right? In a lot of the practices, like pornography, for example, did you know in many other countries they don't allow that at all? And why don't they allow it? Because he's trying to, now the demonic ones here will say, they're just trying to control the people. No, because it taints the mind. That's the reason why. It's not only the mind, but it taints the soul, okay? So they don't do that. These same countries won't, like, so many of them won't allow tattooing or anything like that, because again, if you're not tainting the soul or the mind, you're tainting the body. You're abusing the body. Okay, so many of the countries that I'm talking about, many of the people, women and men, you won't see any tattooing at all. Now, if they're part of some criminal class, yes, you may see tattooing and stuff like that, of course. Okay, if they are part of some type of, if it's some type of long family, there are aspects where you will see some of this stuff. Okay, but those are the exceptions, not the rule.
Back there, right?
Okay, so the rule is ideally, if your body is a temple. Now, someone say your body is a temple, so yes, I'm decorating my temple. No. Well, see, all that is muwa, or tainted thought forms to try to bring in something. Okay. This is why when you go back some years ago, go back to the early 90s, right? When video games started to, or mid 90s, when video games started to become more and more popular, right? And especially into the late 90s, you're seeing all these senators and stuff like that, and other people across the country say, these video games are too violent. They're too violent. Children should not be playing these video games. And they went to try to ban certain types of video games. One of the main ones was, for example, like Grand Theft Auto. That was one of the main ones. They, and there was a few others as well, but Grand Theft Auto kept coming up and stuff like that because it would lead to certain types of not good behavior. Now, of course, people stood up and say, it's just a video game. It's just a video game. Anything that you pay attention to, anything that's even playing within your hearing distance affects you vibrationally. Okay, anything and everything does. Okay, so with that, you don't put this ideally, okay, ideally. And of course, this is why the Draconians took us off of YouTube, because we're going to tell you exactly what to do in the sense of what we would do, what we would do, okay, and how we strive to live, right, which will allow you to be as strong as possible physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, etc., which in turn will at times help you to have a stronger connection with the creator. And that's specifically what they don't want. And that's specifically why they're trying to do what they do. So with that, ideally, no tattoos. Ideally, you wouldn't watch, because most shows on TV are demonic. Okay, most of, even though we may enjoy them, they would be considered demonic. Okay, because we know for a fact the creators of these TV shows and these movies, they're demonic. Right? You know what I'm saying? So even if we debate about a show, going back and forth, this show is not rich, it's showing life or whatever it may be, we know that the creators of the shows don't have the best intentions. We know that the creators of the show could be considered demonic or spiritually tainted. And these entities are the ones creating the movies and the TV shows. So even if they had the best intentions, some of that taint, okay, some of that darkness is going to be in that show, in that movie, right? And even if you miss it, your subconscious is picking up on all of it. And the only thing it needs is a little spot so it could sit there and nest and gain strength. That's all it needs. So especially if you want to be as strong as possible, you wouldn't, now you can't avoid it all because the world itself is much more corrupted than what it used to be. So ideally, you want to eat good food, okay? So that at least the food you're putting in your mouth is of good value, which gives you, the stores of energy and the stores of good energy that you need, okay? Organic food, ideally even heirloom food and stuff like that, which leads to that even when it comes to your physical body, you do not want to taint it in any form or fashion. You want to keep it ideally as pure as possible, okay? And that's just, it leads to better health. Especially many people these days are getting deeper into health and wellness. We see firsthand that, yeah, keeping your body pure, not injecting weird stuff in it, not eating weird things and stuff like that, not even watching weird stuff. All these things contribute to a more holistic lifestyle. So let's move in. So back to things like tattooing or scarring, because another thing is scarring, or people would literally brand themselves. Even some fraternities to join, you would brand yourself and stuff like that. Ideally, like my children, I would say, no, don't do that. Okay, at all, period. So that was your concern, huh, Andrew?
Yeah, that was because I was practicing it in my house a little while back, just yeah, like as a hobby, picking up new hobbies. I was interested in it, and it was appealing to me.
Okay. I mean, like I said, I don't judge you, right? And we talking about an ideal how things would be, right? Some people do consider it an art form. I mean, I could consider it an art form as well. Okay. There are even people who do it, like instead of putting makeup on and stuff like that, there are, this is what I was going to say concerning like these different forms, which could be certain ways, right? So for example, this goes back to the 0 and 10 thing, right? We've seen people on social media, for example, right, where we could say this person is not the best looking, okay? And we've seen them be able to put makeup on, literally, and they look literally like a 10, look entirely different. We're not just talking about persons putting some makeup on. I mean, their art form is like masterful, okay? I mean, even me personally, I think it's absolutely amazing. That person does have an extreme gift, but at the same time, again, especially if you're out and about. And I'm talking about as a person to themselves, how they may feel about it themselves. But when people are looking at you, or you are trying to achieve something, stuff like that, you're actually deceiving people. People shouldn't judge by looks, but you give us, and you're deceiving them because you're not appearing as though that you really are. Okay, so with that, this goes into many different areas, but most of the purest communities in the world around us, they don't drink. Okay, they don't drink alcohol. They don't smoke marijuana. They don't watch any of these thought forms at all. Like most of the time, they wouldn't even have a TV at all, period. What else? They won't tattoo themselves. You know, it goes on and on and on and on and on. Okay, even when it comes to sex, let me tell you this. Okay, this gets in, kind of going around all that with the question you asked here, just so to hit different points of it. Did you know, I mentioned this every once in a while on the podcast, but did you know that sex is only for procreation? That's it. Did you know this?
No, I didn't actually.
Okay. Sex is literally only for procreation. Like literally, you want to have a baby, you will procreate, and after that, you won't have sex again. Okay. Okay. So now someone here will be like, what? No. Well, I mean, that shows us how far humanity has fallen, that it's become almost animal-like. Okay, I'm not going to get into, because procreation is also typically, when we talk about this, is in the union of a man and woman in marriage. Okay, so something like a married couple only having relations to procreate. In the higher planes, they only have, I'm just telling you what it is, you can accept it or not. Okay, in the higher planes, they only have sexual relations when it's time to procreate. That is it. Okay, period. Now you could take that how you want to take it, and so on and so forth. Okay, so there is levels to this, and the whole thing is that will all of humanity, or even everyone on this call, I'm talking about everyone, including myself, go from, let's say, 0 to 10 and do everything exactly the way what the law, what the universe, what the creator dictates? I mean, probably not. Probably we're going to fall short, but generation after generation after generation, things should go better, not worse. Okay, where each generation gets closer to the creator, not going backwards. You know what I'm saying? Right now, we see the generations going backwards, getting further and further away from the light of the creator. Okay, versus becoming closer to. So, yeah. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Thanks for clearing that up.
Okay, repeat that.
I said thanks for clearing that up.
Oh, okay, cool. You're very welcome. Thank you for the call.
Good afternoon, or good night, or good whatever time it is where you guys are at. But I got a real quick question. I spin music. I listened to the show last week. This is my second time listening live here, and I spin different types of music, and I noticed how different people act and react to different types of music. And I wanted to get down to the frequency part of it and the psychological, biological effects of different type music. I spin house music, jazz, drum and bass. I try to stay away from rap music. Hip hop, that's something a little bit different, but just on a spiritual level, like how important is that, and why do people act in certain different manners based off of different frequencies of the music?
Okay. That's a good question. Okay, there was a baby in the background, brother, so I muted you, okay? But when in the conversation, you can unmute yourself, okay? So I muted you though, just because I heard it was getting kind of loud in the background. So, okay, so in the beginning, I'm not sure, brother, did you hear my intro talking about the word? Did you hear that intro?
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to catch that part because I noticed that I wasn't able to get in through YouTube, and I've got the direct link to the Zoom, so I had to go to other measures. But no, I didn't.
Okay, well, but listen to this, okay? So this is the intro for Manifestation Wednesdays. So it comes from, okay, so in the beginning, okay, this is from Genesis, right? In the beginning, in this space, there was an entity. For simplicity, let's call this entity God. This God created the heaven and the earth. And through this process, this God stated a few things. One of them was, let there be light. And the outcome of which, there was light. It was the word. Spoken words are a melody of vibration. A clashing of frequencies when spoke bring about certain changes. These changes can be as major as creating a world, or as minor as ordering your meal in the drive-thru of a restaurant. Words are made up of letters. These letters have a meaning and a sound. When you combine together these letters that each individually have a meaning and a sound, you create a word. When you string together words, you have a sentence. When multiple sentences are flowing between two or more people, this is called a conversation. As we begin our conversation tonight, as it springs together because of a word. So the long story in saying that is that, yes, what you're witnessing is true, okay, through frequency or through what we call music, which is the playing of many vibrational tones together that individually might not sound good at all, okay? But together it creates this melody, which again creates change in the environment. When music is played, it's no different than you hearing me speak right now. Okay, I'm just using a very specific tones, okay, versus what music is using, okay, what we would call music, a nice melody. Okay, there are people like right now, a person who could actually sing. I don't know what it's called, but it's a way where they can show that they can sing without actually singing anything. They just go through the different tones. Okay, and so with that, it's the same thing. So what you are witnessing of people's demeanor, even their excitement change, even when it comes to when you play a love song, some type of R&B, some Anita Baker, some, some Sade, and so on and so forth. People relax. You will see, you just see people becoming a bit different versus playing some Tupac, talking about Dear Mama, or, all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So with that, yes, music is extremely important. That's why one of the first things that, even in war, okay, you had the drummer, okay, even in war, right? And so even when it comes to certain communities, okay, when the Draconians took over, especially the America, one of the first things that they attacked first was the music, okay? Because music is, especially some people are more, or groups of people are much more affected by tones and frequencies than other people, okay? Everybody is, okay? But some people are just much, much more affected than others, okay? And so they have to attack the music. They have to put negative and corrupted thought forms in the music, which in turn, even though they say it's just music, some people are so influenced by music, they shouldn't listen to music that's negative at all, because it affects them. Especially like some of you all may have heard like your grandma or something, right? When you were younger, you may have played rap or something like that. And like this has happened to me firsthand, right? And I'm young, I'm a teenager, and I'm playing some Tupac or something. And my grandma said that hurt her heart. Okay, I understand that completely. When I get about 25 or so, 23-ish, I really didn't listen to music at all anymore. No, I mean, talking about music with words like Tupac and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It was mostly jazz. It was mostly classical, mainly classical more than the jazz, and like ambient music and stuff like that. Not any of that rap stuff at all, period. And really not even hip hop either. Okay. So with that, yes, it influences majorly. Yes, one has to be careful. Yes, as a person who spins, which means that he's a DJ, okay, that you can, if you really meditate on the science of what's being said here, you can literally change the direction of someone's life by the frequencies you throw at them, okay? By the frequencies you throw at them as you're spinning. The same thing could happen even through a conversation. How just a few words between two people as they're having a conversation could change someone's life for the better. It's literally no difference at all. Okay? It is much more easier to say some things per se, at least in my opinion anyway, because it's much easier than trying to send frequencies to somebody. But at the same time, a person who's deep into that will say, no, it's easier for me to throw some frequencies at you than say a few words. Right? So that's that. Even us going to the EMF, the electromagnetic frequencies, okay? Many of us are bombarded with electromagnetic frequencies, which are doing some things to us, even if it's just disrupting, okay? Even if it's just disrupting cellular communication, okay? That means it's disrupting aspects of the way your cells communicate in the body, which could lead to issues later on in life. For example, I'm about to show you, which has been posted since last year here on the Meta Center website. I'm going to show you like how serious frequencies are. So give me a moment here. I'm about to share my screen here. Okay, so give me a moment. Okay, so you should see the screen now. Okay, so I'm going to the Meta Center website here, and I'm going to type in here for the EMF fabric. Okay, so this is the EMF fabric here. It hasn't been on sale for quite a while because we ran out last year and so much been going on, have not purchased more. But here, oh, I forgot. That sucks because our YouTube channel is, of course, as we know, down at the moment. That video was on YouTube, okay? And what it showed was the, so let me describe here. So here's the EMF fabric here, right? Okay. What it showed was an EMF meter. I turned it on and you've seen it go crazy, like making all type of noise and everything else because we're bombarded with EMF all day long, okay? And then I put it underneath the fabric and then it turned, it went down from being in the red to being in the green. And then the moment I removed it from the fabric, it went crazy again, back to red. Put it back under the fabric, went back to green again, okay? So we're being bombarded with these frequencies all day, every single day, which is disrupting cellular communication, okay? So the science of frequency is heavy, okay? So did that answer your question? Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right, Jamila. At least that's the name there.
Yeah, actually that did. Yeah, like even like earlier today, I know you guys probably heard my child in the back or whatever, but I put on some jazz or whatever earlier today. I put on some George Benson, put on Breezing, and she immediately went to sleep.
There it is.
Immediately. So I'm glad that you brought some insight about that or whatever, but I kind of figured it out a little bit earlier in my life or whatever. I don't know what the universe was trying to tell me, but I actually went temporarily deaf with some of the type of music that I was spinning. It happened to be rap back at that time, but I literally like threw away a whole lot of my albums or whatever and regained my hearing. I don't know what the universe was telling me, but
you know.
I really, yeah, go ahead, I'm listening.
No, you know. You don't do universe. Stop playing. Stop playing, brother.
Right. So, but yeah, man, I appreciate the insight, and I definitely appreciate your time and patience. And yeah, man, I continue to keep tuning in. Last week's show was real good. That Sagittarius, he was going off, man.
Yeah. Well, most definitely, yes, he was. How you pronounce your name, brother?
It's AJ.
Oh, AJ. Okay. Well, another name was up here. Okay, so
Yeah.
there you go. All right, so do appreciate you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. All right. Okay, so anyone else has anything they want to chat about, have a conversation about real quick? Anyone else? Either just unmute your phone. Again, ideally hit the hand button. I could then unmute you. Or if you're just on your cell phone, you dial the actual 312 number, then unmute your phone. Okay, so there are some people here who I'm still getting to. It was about 60 or so entries on the Manifestation Wednesday website. So I just go through how they came in and I unmute them one by one. Okay, I mean, not unmute, but I call them up one by one. If you pick up the phone, then they could be on. If not, I move on to the next one. So if you have not got a call yet, don't worry about it. If you put it in, it is there. Okay, so I will end up calling you sooner or later. So anyone have anything you want to share, or any comments, concerns, anything you want to have a conversation about, again, before we end tonight's show?
Yeah, I actually, in your DM on Instagram, there was a question that I had asked you that you said that you'd be able to answer on a future podcast.
Oh, okay, let's go.
I don't know if you mind answering that question.
Okay, I'm going to the DM now.
All right. It may take you a little bit of time to read it, but I believe it had something to do with Dr. Double Blair. You see it?
Okay, yeah. So this is back in May. You actually asked this.
Yeah, May. Yeah.
Okay, so all right. So you said Dr. Blair says how much he appreciated you and how he looked at you like a son. There's also a section that mentions how you have been caring towards the homeless, and Dr. Blair liked that in you, as well as much more. With that being said, I'm interested in what you saw in Dr. Blair in your early years. Anyone who seeks the unknown would feel intrigued by the work, information Dr. Blair has put forth, but what was it in him that you saw outside of the information that made you trust him enough to continue the patronage? Okay, so that's a good question. Good question. I'm glad you brought that up. So what happened was that, okay, so I was doing a on one of the podcasts that you see, like the podcast that show like all the superhuman stuff. Okay, and at the end it showed a white guy who was like touching people and sending his chi through people. Did you see that podcast? That was a few weeks ago.
Yes.
Oh, okay, all right. So during that time, that was now about 20 years ago. Okay, and so 20 years ago, or actually a little bit over 20 years ago, I was on a certain path. I was doing all certain things. What you see me do now is very similar to what I was doing way back then. Okay, it's not too much of a difference. And so while on that path, I was looking for certain types of people. Okay, and I knew, for example, that I could do certain things. And so I was looking for first a person that I came across on YouTube, this is videos of the Magus of Java, okay, who was also called John Chang. And in his videos, they're really old looking videos and stuff. And he's somewhere in Far East Asia, and he was touching people and shooting his chi through people just like Master Kleiman can do, Master Gary Kleiman. But he was also doing more than that. He was able to set paper on fire and stuff like that. So I said, when I've seen those videos, I said, yeah, I knew immediately it was real because I could do certain things. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, I was meditating even at 19 years old, I was meditating at about 10 years at that point, consistently and constantly. So this is a very young age. Mm-hmm. And so I started looking for a person like him. Then I ended up meeting Gary. Okay. And Gary touched me. I said, hey, you say you this and that, and I want to see what you can do. Do it. And that's like that. So if a person is claiming to be a master or claiming to be at a high level of anything like that, especially, they should be able to show and tell. Now, it doesn't mean they have to show and tell you right then and there, but you should see or hear something that shows they are of a master level. Okay. And so he touched me and shot energy all throughout me. I said, this man is the real deal. Okay. And so that was that. So there a little journey happened with that. But then I was on YouTube and I was watching a bunch of videos like Bobby Hemmett and some others. And so I ended up coming across Dr. Blair. And just like majority of people who come across Dr. Blair, you start binge watching it. Okay. And so remember, this is over 20 years ago now, right? And so I started binge about 20 years ago. No, actually about 18, 17 years ago. And so I started binge watching some Dr. Blair, right? And this goes on for about maybe 2-3 years or so, give or take a little bit. And so watching him, everything else. And then I said, you know what, man? Why isn't, I started getting annoyed a bit. I was like, why isn't there any master teachers around like this because they always either on the East Coast, either somewhere in the South, somewhere on the West Coast, or especially they're not even in the country at all. They're just somewhere else in the world, right? The few who I could say that I think are at a certain level. And so I was like, why are they never around here or anything? End up finding out, long story short, that he lived literally right down the street from me. Okay. And so when I found it, I said, oh, you couldn't make this up. I said, come on. Right? So I thought he was somewhere else. I didn't know where he was. I mean, but I thought that he was just nowhere in Illinois, of course, but I just thought he was somewhere else, but I didn't know where he was. To find out he lived down the street from me, and from that point, I was searching hard for him, and ended up finding a number. And then I ended up calling. First few times that happened, called again, I'm getting his voicemail. It was his voice. I said, found him. Okay. Called a couple more times and kept getting his voicemail. And I said, no way. I just left a message say, hi, my name is Tony. I'm going to speak to Dr. Dilbert Blair. Listen to your videos. I live right down the street from you. And he picked up the phone. He was like, yes, this is, how do you say it? Yes, this is Dale Blair. Okay. And so I said, Dr. Blair? He said, yes. And I said, oh man. So I went on, like how people get excited, they go on with whatever. And I said, can I come by and see you? You know, this and that. He was like, have some things to do, but you could come by. And when I went by his house, which may have been the same day, next day, whatever it was, when I'm going by, and then when I was looking at him, right? Because I mean, I am a seer and stuff. I see things and stuff like that. Well, see things like, that. So I said, no, what? He said, what? I said, I'm here to help you. And I'm going to be here for you. And he looked, he said, And then from that point and literally until the day that he passed, I was literally there for him. Literally.
Wow.
Every day. Damn near every day. And there's people on the line here. Let's see, is the Blair still here? If y'all seen earlier, it was a call.
I think she left.
Yeah, she may have left. Yeah. So for those who are in the chat room and seen the name Cynthia Blair, that was Dr. Blair's secretary, literally. Okay, and she was there before even I was. She was there 10 years before I was. Okay, she comes out to the events and everything. Okay, and she's not related to Dr. Blair. She has her own Mr. Blair. Okay, but coincidentally they have the same last name. So anyways, so end up meeting him, was there all the time. Like, of course, when you hear certain podcasts, many of you have purchased a podcast from years ago, and you hear him talking to somebody. Of course, he's talking to me. Okay, and you hear me sometime in the background talking as well. And that went on for years. You know what I'm saying? So that was a very interesting experience. But in short, after, like, people ask, like, what did I ask them and stuff like that, and this and that, we didn't have a kind of relationship like that. You know what I'm saying? Where maybe right in the beginning, I may have asked them a little bit here and there, but remember, I was already on my own path. You understand what I'm saying? So I was already doing all type of things and stuff anyway. Okay. And so there was something between Dr. Blair and I that was resonating that can't really be put into words. You understand what I'm saying? And so people will see all the time, like many people come to the events, people who are actually there in the classes and stuff. I used to come in there, I used to sit by Dr. Blair would ask me to do something, I'm there, I'm helping them out. And that went on for years, just like that, you know what I'm saying? And when in our private time, you know, sometimes we'll just be sitting there and just talking about all types of other things other than what people think we would be talking about, okay? And so a lot of times that's the way it is. Like some people think that being like when you're in the presence, let's say, of a person of a caliber of a master, that you're supposed to be just badgering them with questions and stuff. No, not all the time. No, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times it's just literally just being in their presence, because we're all energy, right? So we have our aura, which is really the magnetic field. Okay, if the more healthier you are, the stronger you are, the more attracting your magnetic field is, and also just the stronger it is. This is, for example, when you walk into a room, the room could be full of people all over the place, but when you walked into the room and you walked in quietly, everybody, or at least a few people, started to turn around and look at you. It was no way for them to know you were there, but they looked directly at you. Okay, that's your magnetic field. It's affecting people. Okay, so when you're in the presence of one who is considered a master, at that level where their magnetic field is a certain way, then you just being in their presence, they're rubbing off on you. Your magnetic fields are intertwining, and certain upgrades are potentially taking place. All right, this is, for example, some of you may know this because some of you have actually asked me this, where you will call and let's say the Meta Center, and it'll be transferred to me, right? And you'll hear me talk, right? Especially the first time you heard me. Many people say, when the first time they hear me, like, "Hey, you Dr. Blair's son, you sound like him," stuff like that, right? I used to get that. I have it still every once in a while, but nevertheless, the reason why people say that is because his frequency has rubbed off on me for so long, and so much so that it's part of me. So when I'm saying certain phrases, some of you may say, "Man, that sounds like Dr. Blair would say." Or if I just talk in a certain way, it may actually sound like Dr. Blair at times. It's because his frequency is intertwined with mine at this point. And that's what I mean. I was around the man for like 9 years, you know what I'm saying? Literally practically almost every day. Okay. And so that's literally what happens. It's like, for example, also like when a more even simpler way to look at this is, for example, when a girlfriend or boyfriend, husband and wife have been together for so long, the woman especially starts to look like the man. And of course, because she's the acceptor, the man ejects and she accepts. Okay, you all get what I'm saying. So with that, they start to, in short, look alike. Okay, they could start to look, instead of like two distinct people, they start to look like more so like a brother and sister. Okay, or even more so like the exact same person. Okay, it's because not only are their frequencies intertwining, like how me and Dr. Blair was, that's me just being next to him, sitting next to him, we eating dinner together and stuff like that all the time, right? It's not just that, but in the sense of a marriage or a girlfriend boyfriend type of thing, they're literally being tied together, okay, through intercourse, okay? And so the effects of the magnetic field take on massive amounts of internal change versus just sitting next to the person every single day, all day. Okay. So from that point, like literally was there from the moment I met him and told him that to the day he passed away, I was there. And that's just that. So that's why when even like all the things that I've seen in my lifetime before I even met Dr. Blair, and the things that me and Dr. Blair shared together, and then after Dr. Blair's passing, from that point till now, and all the support of the community, all the different events we have, all the different experiments we have put forth, we sitting here sending atmospheric balloons out into space and stuff like that. You know, in short, personally, I don't worry about too much. when it comes to too much of anything, and just leading to that, like the YouTube thing and stuff like that, right? Because everything in short is in divine order. That's in short what I want to say, right? Because when you look back from the past and really look at the story that's just been told, and from the past all the way to now, from the moment I was born, it led up to this point right now.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? The moment I was born, it led up to me meeting Dr. Blair at a certain point. Okay. The moment I was born, it led to me having a conversation with you, Skylar. Okay. And all the people in the chat room or who are listening right now, who we have, many of you, we have actually met in different classes and stuff like that. It led to all of that. Okay. There's no mistakes in any of this. Okay. So did that answer your question?
Oh, of course. Couldn't have been said better.
There it is. There it is. At times, the road that we are on, don't think it's been easy. Oh, it has not been easy. There's been many times that one has felt like they want to give up or even should give up. But that's the difference between one who is strong and one who is not. Because the one who is strong does not give up. Okay, no matter how the energy may seem. Do you understand? So with that, as you go through your life and you come across those ups and downs and everything else, understand that somebody has already told you that the downs can really feel like downs at times, for sure. But if you really just step back, meditate, because I've been meditating all this time. You get what I'm saying? Meditate and just keep, even if you are there alone, okay? Even if there's a million people pointing their finger at you, telling you you're wrong, right? But the truth is, you're saying 1 + 1 is 2, and they're saying 1 + 1 is 84. And these million people are saying that you're wrong when you know for a fact 1 + 1 is 2. It's not 84. Still as they say, in a minority of one, the truth is still the truth. So even if you are alone, the entire world is against you. The truth is still the truth, and you stand strong within that truth. Period. No matter what is being said, no matter what is being done, no matter who is saying it, no matter what they try to do, one way or another, the truth is still the truth. Do you understand?
Understand, overstand.
There you go. There you go. So on that note, everyone, I appreciate everyone tuning in today. It's, I said we're going to get off at 9 o'clock. So
this enchanted love of ours.
There is no truth until you decide what truth is, and each person should find that truth out for his or herself.
This enchanted love of ours. This enchanted love of ours.
You know what? Global family, look in the mirror. I want you to take a good look. You are the champion, the hero of your story. No matter how much praise you may give some of us who may help you on this journey, it is you who has to walk it. We are only a catalyst to help you see.
Tony, again, I give you accolades for, I don't even know what to say, for all the efforts, man, that you put in my behalf.
There is no truth until you decide what truth is.
It is you who has to walk it. We are only a catalyst to help you see.
Person should find that truth out for his or herself.
To help you see.
For his or herself.